rise and fall of the Roman Empire. Few civilizations have left as lasting a mark on human history as the Roman Empire. From humble beginnings as a cluster of villages on the banks of the Tiber River, Rome grew into the most powerful empire the world had ever seen. At its height, it stretched from the wind-swept highlands of Scotland to the deserts of Egypt, from the forests of Germany to the shores of the Persian Gulf. Its armies were unmatched, its engineering awe-inspiring, its culture enduring. And yet, after centuries of dominance, Rome fell, not with a single cataclysm, but through a slow unraveling, a story of power, ambition, reform, betrayal, triumph, and ruin. In this video, we'll dive deep into the entire arc of Rome's existence. We'll explore its mythology and monarchy, the birth of the Republic, its fierce wars of expansion, its transformation into an empire, and its ultimate collapse. We'll study the emperors who shaped it, the citizens who sustained it, and the enemies who challenged it. This is not just the story of an empire, it's the story of civilization itself. Chapter 1. Myth and Monarchy, 753 to 509 BCE. Rome's story begins not with historical fact, but with legend. The twin brothers Romulus and Remus, abandoned on the banks of the Tiber River and raised by a she-wolf, symbolize Rome's wild and warlike origins. In time, Romulus kills Remus and founds the city that bears his name. While this tale is myth, archaeological evidence supports the emergence of a small settlement on the Palatine Hill around the mid-8th century BCE. Early Rome was ruled by a series of kings, some Roman, some Sabine, and the last three of Etruscan descent. These monarchs oversaw early Roman religious rites, city planning, and the establishment of social and military structures. The kings wielded near-absolute power, but ruled with the advice of a senate composed of noble families. The last king, Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, Tarquin the Proud, earned his nickname. His tyrannical reign, and particularly the outrage surrounding his son's rape of a noblewoman, Lucretia, sparked a revolt. Her subsequent suicide galvanized the Roman nobility, who expelled the king and vowed never again to be ruled by a monarch. Thus, in 509 BCE, the Roman Republic was born. Chapter 2. The Republic emerges, 509 to 264 BCE. The early Roman Republic was a radical departure from monarchy. Power was shared among elected officials and balanced through a complex system of checks. At the heart of the Republic were the two consuls, elected annually, who wielded executive power and led the army. The Senate, a body of elite patricians, advised on policy and finances. The popular assemblies allowed Roman citizens to vote on laws and elect magistrates. But the Republic was not equitable. Patricians, aristocratic families, held most of the power. Plebeians, the common citizens, could vote, but had little influence. Over time, social struggles led to reforms. The creation of the office of the tribune of the plebs gave commoners a voice and the power to veto decisions by the Senate. The publication of the 12 Tables in 451 BCE made the law accessible and standardized. Rome's expansion during this period was steady. By 264 BCE, Rome had asserted control over all of Italy, defeating rival tribes like the Samnites and the Etruscans and absorbing Greek colonies in the south. Rome's method of conquest was unique. Rather than subjugate entirely, it often granted citizenship or made alliances, creating a web of dependent yet loyal communities. Chapter 3. The Punic Wars, 264 to 146 BCE. Rome's dominance in Italy brought it into conflict with another rising power, Carthage, a wealthy Phoenician city-state in North Africa. The struggle for control of the Western Mediterranean would define the next century. First Punic War, 264 to 241 BCE. This war began over Sicily. Rome, previously a land power, built a navy from scratch and managed to defeat Carthage at sea. By 241 BCE, Carthage ceded Sicily, the first Roman province outside Italy. Second Punic War, 218 to 201 BCE. The most dramatic of the three. Hannibal Barca, a Carthaginian general, led an army, including war elephants, across the Alps. His victories at Trebia, Lake Trasimene, and Cannae were devastating, yet Rome endured. Under the leadership of Scipio Africanus, Rome struck back, ultimately defeating Hannibal at Zama in 202 BCE. Third Punic War, 149 to 146 BCE. Driven by lingering fear and hatred, Rome attacked Carthage once more. After a brutal siege, the city was completely destroyed. Its population was enslaved, and the land allegedly salted to prevent future habitation. Rome now dominated the Mediterranean. Chapter 4. Conquest and Consequences, 146 to 88 BCE. Rome's victory brought wealth, but also instability. War spoils enriched elites, while poor citizens and veterans were often neglected. Large estates, or latifundia, run by slaves, replaced small farms. Economic disparity widened. In response, the Gracchi brothers, Tiberius and Gaius, proposed land reforms to redistribute wealth and help the poor. Both were assassinated by political opponents. Their deaths marked a new, violent phase of Roman politics. Rome's military, once citizen-based and loyal to the Republic, evolved. Generals like Marius reformed the army, allowing landless citizens to enlist in exchange for promises of land. Soldiers' loyalties shifted from the Senate to their generals. The seeds of civil war were sown. Chapter 5. Civil Wars and Caesar. 88 to 44 BCE. The Republic was racked by internal strife. Sulla, a patrician general, marched his army on Rome, a shocking act, seizing power as dictator. He instituted proscriptions, lists of enemies to be executed, and weakened the powers of the tribunes. After Sulla's retirement, new power struggles emerged. The First Triumvirate, an informal alliance between Julius Caesar, Pompey Magnus, and Crassus, dominated politics. Crassus died, and tensions between Caesar and Pompey escalated. In 49 BCE, Caesar crossed the Rubicon River, famously declaring, "Alia iacta est," the die is cast. A civil war followed. Caesar emerged victorious, became dictator for life, and implemented reforms: debt relief, calendar reform, creating the Julian calendar, and citizenship expansion. His ambition, however, led to his downfall. On the Ides of March, 44 BCE, Caesar was assassinated by senators, including his former ally, Brutus. They believed they were saving the Republic, but instead, they ushered in its final collapse. Chapter 6. The Rise of Augustus and the Empire begins, 44 BCE to 14 CE. Caesar's assassination plunged Rome into chaos. His heir, Octavian, formed the Second Triumvirate with Mark Antony and Lepidus. After defeating Caesar's assassins at the Battle of Philippi, tensions grew between Octavian and Antony, who allied with Cleopatra of Egypt. In 31 BCE, Octavian defeated Antony and Cleopatra at the Battle of Actium. By 27 BCE, he was granted the title Augustus, the revered one, by the Senate. Though he claimed to restore the Republic, real power rested with him. He became Rome's first emperor. Augustus ushered in the Pax Romana, a 200-year period of peace and prosperity. He reformed the tax system, created a standing army, established a postal service, and beautified Rome. His reign became the model for future emperors. The Republic was dead. The Empire was born. Chapter 7. The Height of Empire, 14 to 180 CE. Augustus was succeeded by a mix of able and erratic emperors. Tiberius was austere and suspicious. Caligula was cruel and possibly insane. Claudius expanded the empire into Britain. Nero was notorious for extravagance and persecution. The Flavian dynasty stabilized the empire. Vespasian built the Colosseum. Titus captured Jerusalem in 70 CE, destroying the Second Temple. Domitian ruled autocratically but efficiently. Then came the 5 good emperors, Orvazd Toit, Nerva, Trajan, Hadrian, Antoninus Pius, and Marcus Aurelius. Under them, Rome reached its territorial zenith. Trajan's conquests pushed the empire to the Persian Gulf. Hadrian built defensive structures like Hadrian's Wall. Rome was a multicultural superpower. Greek culture flourished. Latin spread. Roman law, roads, aqueducts, and cities knit the empire together. Yet even at its peak, cracks formed. Chapter 8. Crisis and Division, 180 to 284 CE. After Marcus Aurelius died in 180 CE, his son Commodus took the throne. His erratic behavior marked the beginning of decline. The 3rd century was a time of crisis. In just 50 years, over 25 emperors reigned, many for only months. Civil wars, economic collapse, plagues, and foreign invasions plagued Rome. The currency was debased. The frontiers buckled. Diocletian seized power in 284 and enacted sweeping reforms. He divided the empire into East and West, each with its own emperor and junior emperor, the Tetrarchy. He increased the bureaucracy and attempted to fix prices to combat inflation. But these changes were temporary salves, not cures. Chapter 9. Constantine and the Christian Transformation, 306–337 CE. After a series of wars, Constantine emerged as sole emperor. At the Battle of the Milvian Bridge, he reportedly saw a vision of the Christian cross. He legalized Christianity in 313 with the Edict of Milan. He founded Constantinople on the site of Byzantium, a new Christian capital in the East. Constantine's conversion reshaped Rome. Christianity spread rapidly. Pagan temples were abandoned or repurposed. The Church gained influence and wealth. Rome's spiritual center shifted away from traditional gods to a monotheistic faith. Yet political unity remained elusive. Chapter 10. The Fall of the West, 337 to 476 CE. Successors of Constantine struggled to maintain unity. The empire was divided again. The Huns invaded Europe, pushing Germanic tribes into Roman territory. In 410 CE, the Visigoths under Alaric sacked Rome, a shock to the ancient world. In 455, the Vandals did the same. The Western Empire could no longer defend itself. Economic collapse, military corruption, and loss of territory accelerated the decline. In 476 CE, the Germanic chieftain Odoacer deposed Romulus Augustulus, the last Western Roman emperor. The Western Empire was no more. Chapter 11. The Byzantine Empire and Legacy, 476 to 1453 CE. The Eastern Roman Empire, Byzantium, continued for nearly 1,000 years. Under Justinian, it reconquered parts of the West, codified Roman law into the Corpus Juris Civilis, and built architectural marvels like Hagia Sophia. Despite internal strife and foreign threats, Byzantium preserved classical knowledge and Christian theology. It eventually fell to the Ottoman Turks in 1453. But Rome never truly died. Its legacy lives on in language, law, engineering, architecture, religion, and government. The Roman Republic inspired the founding fathers of the United States. Roman roads still exist. Latin influenced every Romance language. Rome is both a memory and a mirror, a reminder of what power can build and how it can decay. Conclusion. The Roman Empire rose from legend and lived through centuries of triumph and terror. It created systems that govern us still. It fell not in a single moment, but over generations. Yet its story continues, echoing in our laws, our languages, our cities. The rise and fall of Rome is not just the story of an ancient civilization. It is the story of us all. If this content is enjoyable to you, or you find it interesting, consider dropping a like and subscribe, and let us know what you would like to see next.